Now on News 6 Mornings, we're following the fallout of what's being investigated as an assassination attempt of former President Trump. Here's what we've learned overnight. The gunman who fired shots at the former president has been identified by the FBI as 20-year-old Thomas Crooks. He was from about an hour south of Butler, Pennsylvania, where the rally was held. At a press conference late last night, FBI officials say they're working to determine a motive for the assassination attempt. One audience member behind Trump was killed. 2 others are in critical condition. Good morning, Central Florida. You're watching News 6 Getting Results. I'm Emily McLeod. We'll get a check of your forecast in just a moment. The FBI is leading the investigation into the apparent attempted assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump. Shots were fired shortly after Mr. Trump started speaking at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, Saturday evening, leaving 1 man dead and 2 other men in critical condition. The shooter is also dead. Sabrina Franza has the latest from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where the Republican National Convention is about to get underway.
Take a look at what happened.
Secret Service agents swarmed former President Donald Trump and rushed him off stage after a gunman fired shots during his rally in Butler, Pennsylvania.
We had what we're calling an assassination attempt against our former president, Donald Trump. It's still an active crime scene.
Trump said he was shot by a bullet that pierced the upper part of his right ear. On his Truth social media platform, he wrote, quote, "I knew immediately that something was wrong and then I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin." A New York Times photographer captured this image of what appears to show a bullet racing by the former president's head. The FBI identified the gunman as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. They say he fired shots from outside the secure cordoned area of the rally, atop an elevated structure.
He started shooting. Bow, 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 bow. About 4 to 5 shots rang out.
Officials say the gunman was shot and killed by a member of the Secret Service counter-assault team. The FBI called it surprising that the gunman was able to fire at the stage before he was killed.
We do not currently have an identified motive, although our investigators are working tirelessly to attempt to identify what that motive was.
Last night's rally in Pennsylvania was former President Trump's last before the Republican National Convention gets underway here in Milwaukee. Right now, plans are underway to expand the security perimeter around this venue. President Biden spoke with Trump Saturday evening. He condemned the attack.
There's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country.
This is a tragic incident that occurred. We're not in a position to start second-guessing how or why or anything else at this point. Just know that it will be thoroughly investigated.
Trump was treated at a local hospital. He arrived at Newark Liberty Airport early Sunday morning. Sabrina Franza, CBS News, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Now, so far, the FBI is not revealing the type of weapon the shooter used or how many shots he fired. It's asking people who attended the rally to share their eyewitness accounts, including any photos or cell phone video they may have taken. Now, we wanted to bring in Trooper Steve this morning, typically our traffic safety expert, but this morning he is our event safety expert. He's been doing this before. He's done this before.
Right.
He worked at DNC convention in Tampa years ago. So watching the video of the Secret Service and how they quickly and bravely responded in that moment, from you watching, how do you think the situation was handled?
Well, I think they handled it immediately how they do. I tell you right now, the Secret Service, those men and women you don't mess with them. They are the absolute best at protection. Of course, they have separate law enforcement missions, but their primary mission is to protect people, individuals. And if you're watching that video, you can watch the second that they realize that something is occurring. So 1, 2.
Wow. Yeah.
Second and a half, President Trump is literally guarded with bodies of the Secret Service. And those men and women are truly trained. They attend multiple different academies and training facilities throughout their career. And the main goal is to put yourself between the protectee. And that's what was happening out there. And that's what you saw remain. Tactical response units get up there. This is involved. You don't see everything. And that's why. You're not supposed to see everything.
Right, exactly. And of course, we're keeping the person who was killed and the other 2 who were hurt in our thoughts this morning. So when the general public wants to go to a rally like this, or the RNC maybe, or the DNC, What are the protocols? Because I've covered a rally in my previous market, and I know we had to get there early, and they'd have our gear checked. They swept our gear, made sure it was all good.
Right.
So what can the general public expect at an event like this?
Well, first, you need to understand that the safety, your safety is 100% up to you. I understand that going to an event like this, you are going to be exposed to a lot of different checks and stuff, but you need to be aware of what's going on. You need to understand that you're not going to move through the lines very quickly. There is no such thing as privacy at a federal kind of protection location like this where you have dignitaries and things. So you need to understand, you need to be hydrated, you need to be situationally aware. If you are not uncomfortable about something, you need to either remove yourself from that situation or report it immediately. A lot of people think, oh, well, I just saw this guy and it just didn't look right, so I just moved on. No, you need to make that kind of notification and get the ball rolling, because that's how, there's no crystal ball. I say that a lot in law enforcement. We need you in order to make things happen. So at the end of the day, people attending large events need to understand there's no guaranteed
There's no
safety.
playbook, right?
And so many people in like a community are like, oh, well, I live in a gated community,
Right.
nothing can happen. No, these are all visible deterrents that go in place, but you need to take care of yourself too. So being aware in the crowd like that, you saw many people start diving and stuff. You can't plan for stuff like this. You can only prepare.
Right.
And I think hopefully the men and women did everything they could, but I think we're going to learn a lot about this.
Yeah, and speaking of preparing and kind of reacting, I always want to squeeze in one more question
Go
with
for
you
it.
because your insight is really valuable
You got me on a Sunday,
in
so.
these situations. So after an event like this, you see thousands of people are there. The crowd control, that's got to be a huge challenge for all the agencies that are there because everybody's worried, they're trying to get out of there, but it's a crime scene.
Right.
How do you keep thousands of people?
So this is going to sound real cold, but convenience is not the key here for something like this. No law enforcement at this point is overly concerned about what you need to do after that. It's containment, it's security, it's making sure there is no second or third threat that is there. And just because you were in the crowd and cleared does not mean that they don't want to watch you exit. They're still observing everybody, and there is organized chaos to this. Look, if you've attended any of these events, whether working or personal, you know even getting there, it's a mess, just because of the traffic. And now this chaos leaving is going to be a mess too. But it is organized, it is structured, and there's a reason why they shut down certain roads when they exit. People are like, why can't I just go down that road? I'm telling you, I can't explain everything to you without getting in trouble from my other job.
Right.
But there are reasons why we want you to go down a certain road. We might be watching you and you don't realize that. So
Right. All right.
why.
Always valuable insight. Thanks, Steve, for coming in this morning.